Hey everybody, it's me, Matt Rogers, letting you know tickets are on sale now to see me on tour. The Prince of Christmas tour, that is. I'm doing my whole album, Have You Heard of Christmas, plus a lot more with the whole band all throughout December. Go to www.mattrogersofficial.com to see me in a city near you. And now, Las Culturistas. Drums.
Look, man. Where? Oh, I see. Oh, my. Bowen, look over there. Wow, is that culture? Yes. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Yeah. Las Culturistas.
Ding dong! Las Culturistas calling. Can't think of a better way to end our year, Bo. This is the final episode of Las Culturistas 2024.
And with, I feel like, our most regal guest, this has been a stacked year in terms of Las Culturistas bookings. Shout out to everybody on our team, everybody on everyone else's team, I guess.
Shout out to all teams. It's actually Real Culture number 6. Shout out to all teams. Tina Fey's team, Mariah Carey's team, Ariana Grande's team, Cynthia Erivo's team, Will Ferrell's team, and now the team. What we actually saw a little bit of how the team is comprised when we got on the Zoom. You would not believe who was setting up the iPad.
The teams, sometimes the team can be close to home, literally. And we got to get into it with our guests because they have made this work for a very long time. And it's so hopeful and inspiring to see.
I have to say, the aesthetic that we are being greeted with in this Zoom is top notch. It speaks to my soul right now. I'm on the Prince of Christmas tour. Yes, I do want to acknowledge I am wearing my own merch. It is because it's the comfiest thing I own. Sorry, I made comfy merch, Bo.
Don't apologize to me for it.
I certainly won't.
Nothing to apologize for.
But I mean, it is Christmas time in Salt Lake City, clearly, and it's Christmas time in the Las Culturistas lore. I mean, this is like Christmas morning for me. I will feel much happier today than I do on Christmas morning. I'll tell you that.
I must agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of merch, I think we need to eventually get Lunatic Fringe merch. I mean, we have the Angie Katsanevas merch galore. She's drinking out of her own mug.
Yes.
For goodness sake. We're laughing.
We are seeing it. Okay, so our guest today is a business owner, a hairstylist, and I think it's crazy. It's like a slow burning breakout star. I think this is one of the first ever slow burn, but also breakout stars we've seen. It feels like an overnight sensation, but also it's been years in the making. I'm speaking, of course, of the television series The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which Bo and I are on record as saying is television's current best show. And, a lot of people are agreeing with us, including Andy Cohen himself, who I know this is his current pride and joy. So to have her is major.
She is holding Center Snowflake this season. She is a pillar of the Greek community, as we all know. Everyone, please welcome
Angie Katsanevas! Hello.
Hi, you guys. Wow, what a welcome. Oh my goodness. I'm honored and I'm flattered and all of it. Thank you. I've been dying to be on this podcast.
We're so
since I met Bowen on Watch What Happens Live. And then I found out Matt was Greek. And yes, and then I left Watch What Happens Live, and one of my castmates, the mean one, said, I'm just kidding. Whose name I shall not mention, said, I don't think Bowen liked you. You kept touching him too much. And then
That's not true.
Started drama, Meredith.
Well, I didn't say it was her. I left out like, oh my gosh, I hope I made a great impression on Bowen, because the success of my first appearance was because of him being there and him being easy to connect with and his great energy.
That was all you, Angie. I mean, it was so lovely to meet you. I got to meet Electra. I got to meet Sean. You guys were so lovely to be around. And I could tell this was a big deal. This was a big deal to both of us, but especially you. This is your WWHL debut. You rocked it down, Angie.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't have done that without you. So thank you. Yes.
I mean, that was a phenomenal episode. And it's crazy to think back, because right now high body count hair is kind of the meme of the moment. But this was the sunglasses. Already some turnover in your memeability here.
Yes.
Major.
Thank you. That's a compliment. Like trampoline with eyes. That's a compliment.
So is this, can we ask, like, the high body count hair thing. You're obviously from the hair community. And by the way, this is another way that we connect because my mother is a hairdresser lifelong.
You're Greek and your mom's a hairdresser. I mean, that's like, we have some serious connections. I didn't know that, but you grew up as a hairdresser's child. That's the best story.
So
no wonder you have
that
such great hair. You and
is this high body count hair? Does this count? My bleach.
I'm sorry, but that is screaming high body count. That is, yes.
I can take that. I'm actually proud to hold that mantle.
Oh yeah, well, you should be. There's a line.
There's a line.
So
you see the line.
There's going to be a high body count. Get in line.
Where did it come from? Was high body count hair something you and the girls say in the salon? Or was that just something on the cuff?
It's so crazy. I have never said it. I have never thought it. I just remember thinking like, that is like porn 90s hair when I saw her hair. And it was like not moving. It was like slacked. And you could see the tracks to her extension, bless her little heart. And then when she kind of... offended me by saying I was probably slutty. And I've been with Sean for 30 years. I just thought, okay, girl, let's look at your hair. So I didn't want to say you look like you have a high body count, but her hair was like screaming 90s porn. And it just came out. People keep saying like, where did that come from? I don't know. It just came out. That's my best materials when it just flies out, and it gets me in trouble, but people love it.
No, then that's no trouble at all, because I feel like you've also been... would it be fair to say that you've walked it back a little bit to say there's nothing wrong with having high body count hair, is there?
You know what? High body count hair can actually be super sexy. And like, the old Guess ads or, like just the volume, the sexy, like raw look, like cougar, look. But I have to say, if it's done right, it can be so hot.
Yes. I want you to walk us through the hair journey. Well, first of all, impeccable, flawless today.
Great flow today, Ange.
Great flow. The treat has been to see all of the eras of Sean and Angie, but specifically with Angie, with you, like the hair all the way back to when you and Sean first started dating, like those cutaways to those old photos, you really pull it off with any kind of length, any style, but walk us through what the journey has been for you since you've documented the hair.
Yeah, hair eras.
Wow, thank you. Well,
Eras tour, as it were.
The Eras tour. There were so many of those that I didn't even put in because I had no idea it would make such a splash. So I'm regretting some others that were missed. I'll have to repost them.
Oh,
but
yeah, of course.
I think a lot of people like really resonated with that 90s era. And a lot of people were that girl. A lot of people had the super skinny eyebrows. A lot of people had like the really hard liner that was like dark chocolate brown with a white color of lips inside.
Yeah.
And, the hard eyeliner. I mean, I think it was super like nostalgic for so many people. And then Sean's hair was hilarious. I mean,
gorgeous.
Sean was like, we had matching bobs. I didn't even notice it till I read the comments. I'm like, how did I not notice that we had matching bobs? Like, that is so hilarious. We are soulmates, and we went through so many we tried everything. Like, we both loved fashion. We both loved, we were both super creative, and for our time, we were ahead of our time. Like the chunks, that hair in Salt Lake was so ahead of its time. I mean, looking back, I just really enjoyed the joy that it brought to others and the laughter that it brought to the internet that day. And Sean and I, like, we did it together. We both were always a super fashionable couple for our time, I guess. And like, I know it doesn't look ahead of our time looking back, but at the time we were so like, we were trendsetters.
Of course. No, it totally reads that way, because I'm like, my first thought is not necessarily like the laughs. It's certainly the joy. I'm not laughing at that going, ha ha, look at how silly they look. I go, ha ha, look how chic they look. And I think Angie in the 90s would have been just a fun time.
Oh, she was. She still is. I mean, that's why I laugh. Like, I mean, I love it because I do look back on that. Angie and Sean and I went out to clubs all the time. We were super social. We were out everywhere. And it was just a fun era. And like, I was the only girl with platforms in Salt Lake City. And I had to get them in LA at a special store called Wild Pear. Do you guys remember Wild Pear?
Oh, wow, we don't remember.
I don't remember Wild
Pear.
Yeah, it was like you could only find really cool, edgy shoes there. And it used to only be out of state. And then I would go out of state to shop and I was wearing leopard print when no one was wearing leopard print. But in the hair industry, you have to be very fashion forward. And so we were like always inspired by things outside of Salt Lake before Salt Lake became so cool, because now Salt Lake is like really on the map.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's been like within the last 10 years that's happened? Or are you referring to the popularity of the show people roll through when they kind of want to see all the... Because they're like landmarks now. I mean, places to spot if you are a Housewives fan in Salt Lake City.
All of it, really, honestly, because I think Salt Lake was like the best kept secret. It was a hidden gem because it's so beautiful. It's so clean. I have to say, like, the Mormon church keeps our city clean and beautiful. And there's a lot of things to do for families and kids. And our downtown is just pristine. And well, that's all churches, but the Mormon church does run downtown Salt Lake until the Greeks came in. But, I will say that, yes, but I will say, I think the show has really shined a light on Salt Lake City, and it's an enigma. It's beautiful. The mountains, the snow, like you just don't see this anywhere.
I think that does have a lot to do with it. Even like the soundtracking that comes in when it's like those crazy dings and dongs that happen when you see Salt Lake, it really sets the show apart. It really it feels like you're in a world when you're watching it.
Yes. And can I also say, like, owning a business and multiple businesses throughout the city and being in downtown Salt Lake, our salons, I mean, we're already like max capacity, but we have people moving here from big cities that want to come into our salons that are used to paying for a high-end experience in other cities. So like Lunatic Fringe has benefited from our cities growing. Our real estate has gone through the roof, and it's just, our city's on fire.
So
don't move here.
Yeah,
we won't.
Traffic, no, you guys can, but the traffic, everybody else can't. Traffic's getting bad, and things are changing.
The infrastructure was not built for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to bring all these people into town. So talk about Lunatic Fringe. I actually when we saw this was the name, I didn't know this was a term. What is this? Where did this come from?
Well, okay, so we opened our salon 25 years ago, going on 26. We were like 26 and 28 years old, young kids. And our mentor and friend, Alan, he always said, he gave us the name, and it's like, it means a couple terms. It means kind of crazy hair, but if you Google it, it's like a group of like-minded people working towards the same goal or vision. And it fit perfectly. And it was so edgy for its time. And it didn't even say salons, and people just thought, Lunatic Fringe, what is this? But it's really stood out. And after him saying you should use this, we just couldn't think of anything else. It was so good. You couldn't top it. And it's become a household name. We have 10 locations. We're a franchise company now. And we have locations outside of Salt Lake City. We have locations in Boise, in Idaho, and all the rest are in Utah. And, with the right partners, we're willing to open more. But, our salon's been on fire the last 25 years. And, it was a little dream. We just wanted one salon and had no idea it would become what it is. So we do own a cosmetology school. So we have 200 to 300 students a year that we educate, train them on business and hair. And that's with Paul Mitchell. And then, they spread their wings and they either work for us or we train hairdressers to go work wherever they want. So we're very immersed in the hair industry.
On the show. Do you film at Lunatic Fringe? Is there stuff that they could use?
There are a couple of things that you guys shoot.
Yeah, we've only filmed once in the salon. I'd love to share more of that. We also own a beauty supply distributorship, so we're very immersed in the beauty industry, and we have been for years. And we do a lot of fundraising with our school that we've been involved in, just a lot of great things in the community through our businesses.
That's wonderful.
Amazing. Yes, thank you.
What's the family history in Salt Lake City? Like you've basically been there for most of your life. Is that fair to say at this point?
Yes. Yeah. My dad came to America, to Salt Lake City, Utah, when he was 17. My mother came when she was 8, and they met here as young adults. We were all born here. And, it's great because my dad came here with one suit that someone loaned him. And someone asked him when he came to America, well, where's your stuff? And he said, this is it. That's all he came with.
Wow.
He didn't even have a toothbrush till he moved here. My dad didn't have shoes till he was 11. So we were raised very humble, but I thought I was rich because my dad worked hard. We had a nice house. He drove a Cadillac, and I thought I was rich. I always wanted nice things because I loved girlish things. And my mom passing away, I didn't even have mascara or lip gloss around the house. And I loved all things beauty and fashion. So, but yeah, I have 7 siblings. We're all still here in Utah, very close. I have a very tight-knit family. My dad comes from a family of 10. So I have the whole big fat Greek wedding, huge family. And the Greek community here is also really tight. So I was immersed in all things Greek. We Greek danced. My dad, even though Salt Lake was, really a stronger Mormon population when we moved here, and we were the only Greeks in our neighborhood for miles surrounded by Mormons. We loved the Mormons, and they were very supportive of our family. But we still kept our Greek culture going strong and continue to go to our church and keep the traditions going. And, family is everything for me, because I always say part of what's probably been my success on the shows, I have a strong sense of self. I have a strong identity.
Yes.
And you really have to have that and to be authentic. And I've enjoyed sharing more of my family, letting people see me more as a whole this season.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That must be a real difference between you being a friend of, and then all of a sudden. So what does it feel like? So you start as, let's walk through actually the beginning. So you hear that the Real Housewives are coming to Salt Lake City, I would imagine. And is it that you hear that they're doing auditions, or that they're speaking to anyone in particular? Because I know you've known Heather Gay, who is sort of the protagonist of the show, for a very long time.
Yes.
So talk about that origins of how this all happened.
Well, Heather reached down. She said, "Hi, Angie. It's Heather Deans." That was her name. I mean, I hadn't seen Heather in a while. And she said, "I'm referring you for this show for Fabulous Businesswomen." But nobody told me it was Housewives. So when I interviewed, I was like, yes, this is correct. And I was in my business suit, and I was not giving any inkling that I was housewife material, because they didn't tell me what show I was interviewing for. So I was just not very fun and playful, just being definitely really professional and probably more uptight. But they had already cast the 6 girls when they found me. So they circled around to me around season 2. And that's when I just kind of I made an appearance. Heather invited me to her event, and she was super supportive. She again followed up with production and said, "You guys have to circle back around to Sean and Angie." And then they did. And I came on slowly, which I think is the hardest way to come into this group and on the show. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because they don't really welcome you. It's we're going to haze this girl. We're going to prove she's a fraud, that she's a money launderer, that her marriage is a sham, that everything about her is fake. It was unbelievable for them. I think that I really was successful. And I thought, I do check the boxes. I'd love to be on this show. I wasn't expecting to get blindsided. I thought I was coming on because I was aspirational and share my life and my business. So I had to fight. And, Mary said it best to me. She said, "Angie, they tried to take you out." She's like, "You rebounded, you came back, and you slam dunked." And I had to work really hard to show up on the trip and have people boo me for showing up uninvited, which is the episode I was on with you, Bowen, on Watch What Happens.
That was still to this day, the Trixie Motel Palm Springs sequence of episodes is probably up
one
there
of the strongest,
among the best in Housewives history. I mean, it is. We thank God that you showed up to that trip.
Thank you. That's what I had to say. That was one of the most iconic dinner scenes, and I guess. If I wasn't there, they would have just been getting manis and petties at the hotel. So thank God I showed up and crashed, right? Blew up the party, as I say. But it's I think for me, I've had to work for everything in my life. And you know what? I had to really work hard to get to not just start out as coming and showing up to a party from guest to friend, but to going full time and then winding up center and first chair next to Andy. I worked hard for all of this, and that is the story of my life. So I have to say it's been hard, but it's worth it. And it's more worth it when it was harder to get where you are. And also having been the underdog, I think it sends a great message. Yeah. I heard Brittany was on Watch What Happens Live, and I've only seen the clip because I was in Canada, and Andy asked her if I should have sat in first chair, and she said, no, it should have been an OG. And I just said, Brittany, girl, dream big, because if I shouldn't sit there, then you should never sit there. And like, I've always been a leader, not a follower, since I was a kid, and I'm a leader in my business. And you know what? I wanted that center. I wanted to sit next to Andy. And
if you're going to be there.
Yes. If I'm going to be an underdog and then make it to the throne, like, I'm so proud of that. And I'm going to enjoy and revel in the moment. So I think that the message that I'm sending to anyone is, you can start at the bottom, you can be an underdog and wind up in the center. And I hope that inspires Brittany, that she's entitled to sit in that chair one day too, if she gets her shit together with her hair.
Yeah, but I think Brittany could want more for herself across the board.
Yes, absolutely.
Brittany could strive for more across the board.
That made me sad. That made me sad for her to hear her say that. And Andy said it's not about being an OG, so I felt like he backed me there.
It's not. I mean, we think that what has your opinion been of Bronwyn on the show this season? I know that the show is still in progress, but would you like to see everyone return? Do you feel like this is a cast that we feel really works? I mean, I know that's how we feel.
Yes. You know what? 150%. I love this cast. It's like, every person on this show is perfect. And I think coming back, it will be even better, because I know, you evolve with time. You learn from watching yourself. Your friendships strengthen, your connections to the women strengthen, and they become deeper, which makes you have a better season, because you really fall in love with some of these, not all of them, but you really, you become a family, and you can be more truthful. You can be more honest. You can stand on all 10 toes. I mean, everyone gets better every year. And not everyone, but most of us, but the cast is like all star. And that's why Salt Lake stays winning. I think everyone should come back. And I think Bronwyn did a great job. I think she still needs to figure out who she wants to be friends with and where her loyalty lies. And you can't be friends with everyone on this show. And the sooner she figures that out, she'll be winning, because she's still trying to be friends with certain people, even if they've dogged her. And you have to be confident and know that you deserve real friendships and not beg people to like you. Like, find your friends, hold their secrets. You can't tell everything. That's been something that I think she's going to watch back and realize, like, she's made some messes along the way. And I think it's because she was being friends with whoever was in front of her. And I think now she's going to learn that you don't do that, because then you're backpedaling and you have a big giant mess to clean up. And there's a little more of that to come with her, but I think she's a smart woman, and by next season, she'll figure it out.
Sure thing. I mean, it was interesting in this last episode. I think it might have been Heather or Whitney, broke down who was in conflict with who in terms of this housing situation.
Lisa did.
It was Lisa. And it seems like Bronwyn kind of had the most ire built up, or spread out across many different people.
Yes.
So I think that's to your point. It's like, if you're trying to please everybody, then you please no one, and then you get yourself in trouble.
Well, and being on a trip, and she'd be in everyone's room talking about everyone. But her goal was, I'm going to be friends with everyone. But if you take information from room to room, you're not friends with everyone. And that will come back and bite you in the ass. And I don't think she realized that. All you got to do is watch yourself one season. And again, she's smart, and hopefully she'll never do it again. But I like to know that I can talk to someone and know it's not always going to go somewhere. Right. And that's why you've got to find your friends and stay loyal to them. To me, I think it took me a minute to really break out, because I wanted to be a good friend and I wanted to be loyal, and I didn't want to cross lines. But I think, you called me a slow burn, it's better to sit back and observe people, understand people and how they work, establish real friendships and real roots. And then you can be yourself more, because you have more understanding of the group. If you come in and kind of blow everyone up and start talking about everyone to everyone, that's going to blow up on you. And I didn't know that. I just did organically what I felt, and being a good friend and being integral, and I wanted to stay on the show as my real self, as a good person, and not blow people up or ruin lives. That's why I'd rather talk about high body count than be digging in DMs and trying to ruin people's marriages or businesses. That's not fun, that I want to bring the fun to the show. And how did I get onto me? I mean, we were talking about Bronwyn. How did I turn this on
No,
me?
but
it's about you.
It does relate to you, though. And I think that, and I do want to speak on Meredith for a second, because this has been like and I will say Meredith is a friend of the show. And we are Angie fans, but we are also Meredith fans. And so I guess what we would like to see is ultimately, well, it's kind of complicated, right? Because we love watching you guys face off. It is always fun to watch you guys be adversarial with each other. But that being said, we do really love you both and want the best for you both. So I guess my question to you is, do you see the value in having a foe like that? And in that way, do you feel like she's your most, in a way, valuable relationship on the show?
Well, thanks for saying that, because I love that you guys are my stands, because that made me feel like, oh my God, I am a good housewife. When I heard you guys like
You're a great housewife.
You're an incredible
Thank
housewife.
you.
You're the third housewife we've ever had on Las Culturistas. You, Garcelle, and Dr. Wendy.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I am winning. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Title of ep is winning.
I can die now. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Well, to answer that, in the moment when I'm fighting with Meredith, my blood is boiling. I'm in fight or flight. I mean, it is so intense for me. And when you watch that back, like when I got kicked out of the bat mitzvah, for example, or when she yelled, "You can leave." I mean, I was like, it doesn't translate on camera what I'm feeling inside, because, she had me in tears. And look, I know that I was inappropriate with my tits hanging out and saying the D word and saying the F word at her bat mitzvah. But her bat mitzvah did air. Okay. So but I do have to go back to you can leave. When she told me to leave, I'm like, I'm not leaving. I deserve to be at this table. I deserve to be on this show, and I deserve to be with this group. And I stood down, and some of the girls told me no one's really ever stood up to Meredith like that. Wow. And that's why she can't stand you. And it was hard for me to do that, because she's an OG. And while it's my city, in her mind, it's her show. It's my city, and it's her show right now.
That's an interesting take on
That's
it. So
how it
you
felt.
you believe that you are more Salt Lake than Meredith Marks.
She's not from here. I'm born and raised in these streets.
Yes.
I mean, for real, I am so passionate.
You're a pillar of the community.
Goddamn pillar. But it's funny, because when that happened, I mean, inside I was just shook and really deeply. And it felt like she was bullying me, trying to yell at me to leave this event. And I'm sure she had her reasons for saying that. I'm not perfect. And then when she did it to me again at the bat mitzvah, I'm telling you, I'm in fight or flight. I'm shaking inside. I'm furious. I'm emotional. I feel like crying. But when I watch it back, and when people redo the scenes, I left that party and cried for 3 days. It was so humiliating. It was so cruel. It was so demeaning, and to me. And I just felt like, are you really trying to do this to me again? It felt like she was trying to make fun of me, and that I felt totally set up, you guys. And that was why I cried forever after that, because I said, when she said, "Why are you even here?" That was like you invited me here and you brought me here to humiliate me. And what you just said is obvious, that you want to humiliate me, and now you're kicking me out. And it was so hurtful, because I treated her like gold when she came to my home. I told my daughter to make eye contact, smile, welcome her in. I mean, I would never kick anyone out like that. It doesn't matter what the circumstances. So I couldn't relate. But watching it back, it doesn't feel as dark as it did in the moment. Yeah. And seeing Ether Opal recreate it with Barbies, seeing Andy last night seeing these big
Julianne
Moore and Anderson Cooper recreate it. Now it's they are bringing light to this moment, and that's who I am. I am so funny in real life, and I love to make people laugh. So to see this be recreated and bring laughter to people, it softens it for me. And you know what? She is a good sparring partner for me. She's a lawyer. She went to law school to learn to argue, but I am a damn hairdresser, beauty school graduate.
And don't count them out.
And don't count. That's what I say. It's girl, you're a lawyer. You went to school to learn how to argue.
I learned in the streets.
I learned in the streets of Salt Lake. And so
I learned at Lunatic Fringe.
That's right. Exactly. So I just had to laugh, because I thought, I am a good sparring partner for this woman. She may not want to admit it, but I've kind of taken her out pretty good for being just a little old hairdresser. So, look, I think there are some real feelings between us that are not good, and we don't really like each other. So we have made for probably, I've heard from, some people that we are probably the best feud in Housewives history.
It's getting up there. It's getting up there.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, I don't know. Like, we're kind of in a better place, as you saw after last episode.
Right.
I don't want to continue to do this with her, but we're definitely very different, and it probably. I mean, you guys must agree that it makes for, looking back and being able to laugh at it now, I can see that it does make for a good Housewives feud and for good laughs.
It's sublime. But I really love that you're talking about the stages of this, right? Because I've always been curious about the Housewives, where there are a lot of different echoes to each experience that gets captured on the show.
Yes.
Right? You have the event itself, and in the moment, in the reality of it, you feel a certain way. When Meredith kicks you out of an event, that is so hurtful. And then you have to sort of relive that as the show airs months later. And then the echo, the third echo is the response to it. People are reaching out in the comments, or they're tagging you and stuff. The memes of it, and then you see Anderson Cooper and Julianne Moore do it on TV. And so, I'm so happy to hear that it brings light to that situation, because I would think to relive it in 3 different waves is a lot.
Oh, and you know what? And let me add Drunk Drawn. Like, he's hilarious. I just want to give credit to all the people.
Yeah, Drunk Drawn,
because
of course.
Drunk Drawn
when I rewatch this stuff, it softens the blow. And, you don't remember sometimes that I had no idea that would become so funny to people. And that made me happy, and that made it easier to rewatch. And you never know how people are going to take things, but you're right. When, last year, having to watch rumors about Sean, that was hurtful. I didn't love that for my family and for Sean and my daughter, and his parents are mine. That was hard, but this was a little more funny and lighthearted watching it. But in the moment, it cut so deep. And, Heather called me every day after that, and I was sobbing. Like, I was on the verge of tears for 3 days. So as it's happening, it's so deeply hurtful to feel like you were set up, or someone brought you there to make a mockery of you. And then, watching it, and that's where the editors are just magic, like the music and like you said, the little dings and all the stuff that can make it a little more light, because we don't want our show to be dark. And I think Salt Lake,
it had been in the past.
Yes.
And I actually think if Salt Lake City had a weaker season, I would say it was the 3rd season, because it felt really bogged down in the Jen Shah darkness of it all. And I do want to ask about that situation, looking back on all of that. And I also, after this, I'll follow up with another question about how you see yourself in an edit, because I always think that's fascinating.
Yes.
But first, I wanted to ask, looking back on the Jen Shah of it all and what you all went through, what are the feelings about that in retrospect, and also going forward, when it comes to Jen Shah?
Yeah. For me, she overshadowed everybody with her yelling and a lot of toxicity that came to the show. Like, she was hilarious. I will say this. She had a side to her that she could say the funniest things that would just have you rolling. I don't want to negate from some of the good things she brought to the show, because she brought some very funny moments.
Yeah, she's a 360 person. Yeah.
Yes. And that was a side to her I loved, but she's hard to be on a show with, because she blows up and everybody's scared of her blowing up and trying to keep her calm for scene. And so a lot of people I feel like, I hate to say this, but a lot of people really blossomed after she was no longer on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a fact. I don't think it's offensive. It's a fact. And you've seen it. And it was hard for me to she dumped a drink on my head. And it was like, if you're going to open your mouth, I'm going to humiliate you in front of the whole world. Yeah. After I'd felt like I'd been a good friend to her. So I think for me, she's hard to be on a show with for that reason. And it overshadows a lot. And, there were so many rising stars waiting to happen. Yeah. And I think it took for her going away for people to be seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, especially because, with her out of the way,
yes,
they could and also, not for nothing, but what's really interesting is how it seemed like when that broke in season 2, that she was being arrested on camera and that it was going to be seen and that there was going to be the fallout from that. It kind of felt like, how could they top this? And then for the aftermath and someone tangentially involved, or actually pretty directly involved with everything going on with her, Monica, to become like the even more compelling, even more interesting thing the next season, I think just goes to show, like, it doesn't rely on any one person. Not any single one of these shows do. Salt Lake City is an ensemble, and it is the environment and the community of people involved that make it interesting and compelling.
Yes. You know, and even like I related to being a business owner because we have like some super stars in our business, and you can never be held hostage as a business owner or, you know, on the show or any franchise, because there is always someone willing to come up and share their life. There's always another star out there, and no one should ever be held hostage in their business because we're always auditioning for our show. For the show, we're always auditioning in our business. Like, we have to be on our game, but there's always someone, as they say, cuter, richer, and skinnier. I mean, joking, but you know what I mean? That this is an ensemble cast, and we just keep on growing, and the show must go on. And I think people need to know that and not take for granted their position.
Yeah, and just to follow up on what I was saying, like when it comes to seeing yourself edited into a reality TV character, that is something that I have always not been able to wrap my head around in terms of like agreeing to be on something like that. I feel like that would really scare me, and be something I have like a lot of respect for, because you are giving a lot of your personal life, but they can only use not even 90% of it. They can only use 2% of it to get across to everyone who you are, what you're all about, and then the audience, the large audience, can gauge your likability or lack thereof. So I guess my question to you is, what is your experience in watching yourself as an edited character?
You know, it's interesting. I feel like for me, it took the audience a minute to just get me. And I don't know if that's because I was in fight or flight. When you're fighting, you don't get to just relax and let your hair down and be your funny self. So everyone's seeing you like in conflict with women, and that's not fun. That's why I've loved to just seeing more of myself at home, or where I'm more my natural self versus in conflict. But I will say my first couple seasons, I don't think like my authenticity, like my true self, came out as much. And I think people on production get to know you more, and they get you more. And maybe that's helpful when you're on for a little more time. But like this season, Heather Gay told me, Angie, you are hilarious. Bring your thoughts external. And that was the best advice anyone has ever given me in real life and on the show, because I would say all this, but this season I said it all. And I feel like the show finally captured like my true essence. I don't think I really did that last season. So it's a combination of like maybe getting more comfortable in front of the cameras and somebody giving me permission to like, Angie, just say it. It's okay. It doesn't matter what people think. Like, that's you and that's what you think. And I thought, you know, I do have all these funny thoughts, and I finally just let them loose this season. So yeah, it is hard. You'll never see 100% of who you are, but I think they give you enough moments now as they know you to let the audience see who you really are. So this season, I kind of feel like they really captured me. They're more my wittiness, my sense of humor, my one-liners, and my real personality. There are a lot more housewives, so a lot of personal stuff for all of us was missed, because when you have that many women and Brittany being filmed almost full time, you can't share as much of your personal story. And we lost a lot of mine that, you know, stuff with my daughter that wasn't shown with her on her horse that I would love to share more of, but there just wasn't enough time. So, but yeah, I definitely feel like this season captured more of it. So I'm happy with the season. Last season, not as much, you know, other than me just being in conflict, but I feel this season that I had a great season, and all more of my true authentic self came out. So I think they did a good job.
I'm so happy to hear that, because I will say, even with the hardships of last season, but going into this one, I think you are very easy to endear towards. Like I think the audience in those moments of hardship, I thought you handled that conflict so well last season. And
Thank you.
I feel like even in the big splashy moments that are big swings in terms of the glasses or the scroll, I'm like, it all works. It all works no matter how silly or goofy or ridiculous or rehearsed or whatever it is. I don't even know if any of that was rehearsed, but I will say, like, it's just it comes from you, and that true like selfhood is so beautiful. And anytime you do something, Angie, I mean, we're all in the group chat just loving it.
Oh my gosh, that means so much to me, because I know you're both huge Housewives fans, and I just adore you guys. So for you to say that really means a lot. Thank you. And like, I am funny in real life, and these are things I would do in real life. Like, I have this little sample scroll here, and I do have to tell you, because I'm a perfectionist. Like, I did practice unrolling it because I didn't know how
it was. Your timing was great. I commented on the timing. I believe it really, and also it being employed against Meredith. It made it work even more, because she does, and I think she would own this, she does her ice queen thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She is a little bit of, and I think, again, I say this with love for her, she is a little bit of an elitist who maybe would never do a prank like that or a stunt like that.
Yeah.
So for her to be on the receiving end of a stunt like that is funny because it's her.
Oh, I mean, she was clutching her pearls. She was just disgusted. And what's great about it is, like, I thought it was funny. And to me, I just thought, are you serious? She wants an apology? Like, I really meant to bringing the scroll. Like, girl, you owe me an apology. But the only thing I did practice was unrolling it, because I thought, I've got this much time before she storms off. And it just came down beautifully.
She disengaged.
I knew she disengaged. So I actually thought she might laugh about it, but she didn't.
Because that's something I wonder, is it's like, are you guys low key when the cameras go down? Are you guys high-fiving? But
never, no. We like aren't even looking at each other. It's like, oh hi, hi, or we'll see each other, think, oh hi, I like your dress. I mean, there's just like these sort of like little break the ice compliments kind of thing, and we try to be nice, but for some reason we always wind up back in conflict. And like, things are okay now, but it's like, it's 5 minutes before we find something else to fight about. I mean, I always thought, she'd find me funny, because I feel like her husband's kind of a funny jokester, but it's almost like she just doesn't get me at all.
It is funny that she does play this thing of, like, it almost seems like her husband is such a funny guy and such
Goofball.
A goof. That, like, for her to be so removed from that type of thing is a very funny juxtaposition.
Yes. And,
but it makes her a great character on the show. On the show.
Absolutely. I had to step back and realize that, like, okay, I may not like her, but she's great for the show. And I mean, like I said, we're in a better place now, as you saw from the last episode, the most recent episode.
Good.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Sure. I mean, in terms of you talking about this thing of, like, in contrast to Bronwyn, like, you really took your early seasons to absorb, and then build relationships based on those observations. Talk about Mary, because that came it seemed like it came out of nowhere. But in fact, if you go back and watch, like, you were always kind to her from the beginning, even when she outright rejected you in Palm Springs.
That is true.
Like, you kind of were, you were very patient with her. And talk about that, because you must have seen something early on to go, there's something, there could be a friendship there, and it's blossomed into something beautiful.
It is a highlight of the season.
Oh, thank you. And it's been a highlight of my season, our friendship and our continued, even off-camera friendship. I really enjoy her and adore her and love her. She has let me in. And I always knew, like, if she would let me in and let the walls down, I just felt like we could be good friends. I think the biggest thing, there was a scene that never aired, and she said, "Why are you always so nice to me?" And it was really embarrassing. And from that day forward, I kind of stopped trying with her. And I think kind of giving her space worked for her, because I was trying to get to know her. I'm a really personable, I can make friends with anyone. So it was really hard for me to understand why she didn't like me. Like, I felt like we had so much in common. And then she let her walls down, got to know me. We both lost our moms in different ways. We were both really close with our aunts and our grandmothers. And I think she realized we were a lot more alike than she knew. And she loves that I'm religious. She says I'm wholesome. She loves that I'm a family person. And, she sees all the real things about me that, she sees me in a different light than some of my castmates, I think. And I think Mary knows that I'm her real friend and that she can trust me. And she doesn't give that to a lot of people. So I honor that. And I'm very I'm a really sensitive, caring, loving person just by nature. And, there's a sweet scene for us coming up where I'm doing her hair. And I watched that. And I'm just helping her get ready. And it was really special to watch. And I just thought, I love caring for people. And I think Mary feels that from me. And she sees the real me. She loves my family. She loves my daughter. And she's let me meet her son and allowed me into her home when she has no makeup on and she's in her pajamas. So she's let her walls down.
Because what did that initial moment of the walls coming down look like even? And that's what I'm curious about.
You know what's crazy? I saw her the cast photo shoot for the season right after Palm Springs at the end of the season. And she smiled and told me how beautiful I looked. And then she said, your dress is my favorite. I mean, she was complimenting me. And that's when it was like a turning point where she was kind of like giving me the time of day, I guess. And she was very sweet and just very soft spoken. And I saw a different side of her, and she was kind to me at the reunion. So we had 2 great interactions. And then I don't know what it was, but she just really started to open up to me after that. And it started at the reunion with a lipstick, which she swears it wasn't it. But I think that showed her a little bit of a sign that I was a good person. And then I noticed her Tom Ford bracelets, and she said that was the moment that she knew we were going to. Because she said no one else on the cast would know what those were but you. So when you noticed them, I knew that I liked you. And then from there, it just blossomed. And again, I think she had a lot of reason to be defensive with the women from things that had happened in the past on the beginning. And I had never betrayed her. I had never lied to her. And the weird thing is I can't even put my finger on our connection. It's just really natural and organic. And I want to have real friendships on the show. I know people see that. They feel it's transparent. If you're friends with someone because you're allies so you can stay on the show, or because they know something about you, I don't like that. And I think our friendship and the realness and the authenticity of it shines through, and our love for each other shines through. And she loves me, guys. I mean, she loves me hard. Like she tells me that, and I feel that. And for someone to feel that from Mary is super special. And it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's ask you the question of this podcast, the central question, which is, Angie Katsanevas, what was the culture that made you say culture was for you? We've talked a lot about how you have gotten on the show and growing up in Salt Lake. And I wonder if you can color in this final thing, which is what was the culture that made you say culture was for you?
This is there's a 2-sided answer to this. I'm going to bring 2 things in a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Of the Greek culture, because I said it earlier, I have such strong culture. I have such strong beliefs and views, and I have so much to share as far as the world. Everybody has a Greek friend that they love, right?
Bowen does.
Matt's mine.
But yes. I wish I was as in touch with that part of me as you are. To be honest with you, it's quite removed from me. But
yeah.
I am inspired
I want to help you.
I'm inspired by how enthusiastic you are about your heritage.
Yeah, I'm going to take you to Greece, but I'm so proud of that part of myself and that I can share that with the world. But I think being rooted in a strong culture it's given me a lot of confidence, and that's something I'd love to share with the show. But I thought of a funny TV show that I loved watching.
Yes.
Because growing up, we didn't have, our iPads and our iPhones. So I always watched the Golden Girls, and I was wow, I'm a little bit of all of them. I'm a little bit and a lot of Rose Nyland. And that's my funny side that I bring to the show, that I have my little moments where there's a splash of Rose, and then my little moments of Blanche where I, a little high
body count, if
you know what I mean. And that was so. And then little Grandma Sophia, which reminds me of my Aunt Rita, where she's cut the bullshit, And but it's I'm a little bit of all those characters, but I loved watching that show because it made me laugh and it was fun and funny. And I love bringing that light to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Is the comedic relief when you don't even know you're doing it, but you make people happy and make people smile. And I loved that. I loved that show growing up. For me, that was a standout show. And when I hear the theme song, like I just get excited and it's nostalgic. And they were like the Real Housewives of that era for me.
Well, it's an ensemble of women, you know what I mean?
Yes.
When there weren't many. And I think maybe that had something to do with it as well. Just seeing women interact with each other in a time when it felt like there wasn't much of that on television. And now we're so blessed. I mean, I think that one of the reasons why we enjoy the Housewives so much is because we love just watching these women interact, even it's in conflict, in joy, and all these things in real specific ways together.
Matt, I love that, like captures and articulates everything for me, because it is a group of women. They're all different. They all have something that anyone can relate to. Like I said, like I was like a little bit of Blanche and then a little bit of Rose and a splash of the grandma. But I love what you said. It's like they capture every character, and that is the Real Housewives, and they make us laugh unintentionally, right?
Yeah. I see the Rose in you. I feel like you have this Betty White kind of like softness and
Thank you.
Sweetness and beauty.
Well, and Bowen, thank you. Like I met her actually, and Electra met her twice, because with the Paul Mitchell schools, we fundraise. And for years we raised money for Morris Animal Foundation. So I sat with her at the fundraiser. We donated to her. I have some photos off to send you guys so you can see them. But I adore her. And I read something that she said, she was an only child, and it reminds me of Electra. And she would sit with her parents at dinner, and they'd have fun, funny, interesting conversations. And she said, I always wanted to interject, but I needed to find the right moment to interject, to be a part of my parents' convo and say something funny. And I needed it to land. And she said that's how she learned where and when a joke would land, and her perfect comedic timing. And I love that about her, because she was like so funny, and she just knew when to, but she was like a little naive, which I have that too, you know, like I love that about her, because I think I have a little bit of that innocence, and like deep down, I think everybody's like a good person, and I think everyone wants to be my friend. And you learn on Housewives, they don't. But I like bringing a little bit of Rose Nyland to the show. So that's a huge compliment. Thank you.
I mean, I imagine that dinner scape must have been like something that you grew up with in terms of having so many siblings, and like that was a very lively environment. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I loved coming from a big family. And if I wasn't such an old mom, I would have had more kids. Knock on wood, I was blessed to just have Electra even at the age that I did. But yeah, I mean, I did. I love that chaoticness.
How is Electra dealing with her parents being famous?
Well, thank you. I think she secretly is loving it now. And she said, Mom, like all these kids are like, you know, she'll tell me little things that come up at school that people say, or I'll walk into her school and friends will want a photo, or they'll tell her, oh my gosh, you're famous. I saw you on TV. And, you know, she's a very mature little girl, and she's very like well composed and super confident. So I think she's handling it well, but I think she loves it. Now she's like, oh Mom, I don't care that you're famous on TV, but I want to meet Abby Lee Miller, and can you get me backstage? I want to meet George Strait. And now she's given me a list of
George Strait. That's so funny. What a varied taste she has.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Dance
so she's like
George Strait.
Yeah. I mean, so now she's giving me a list of like, Mom, can you hook me up with these people? And I'm like, give me a minute. But she loves going on Watch What Happens Live. She met Lance Bass. She met Bowen.
Right.
I mean, for her, she goes back and brags. Like, that's so cool for her. And she met like, she gets to meet different people there and meet Andy. So she's loving it all. And I think she's going to handle it well, because she's extremely humble, down to earth. She's very modest. And she'll handle it all really well.
I felt that when I met her. I was like, she has it figured out. Like, she's
very
got great
grounded
parents who love her.
Thank you.
I really felt, I mean, truly, because that was early on in your first full season as a housewife. And so I went there like not knowing too much about you, but I was like, Angie's on the Angie's full time now. Great. And like, this is her first Watch What Happens. I'm just there to sort of like, just be there sitting next to her. This is a big moment for her. But
thank goodness.
Meeting your family afterwards, I really saw sort of like the fullness. I was just like, oh, this is a wonderful mother, a wonderful wife, and a great housewife. Period.
Thank you, Bowen, for saying that. And, you know, with Electra, it's like, I think if any kid's going to handle fame or becoming famous or continuing on the show, she will handle it with grace, and she will never be affected by it, because she's so down to earth. But I have to say, I felt like after I watched What Happens Live, I did leave there like, did he like me? Do you think he liked? So I just can't believe I'm sitting here on your podcast because I never knew how you felt.
I was obsessed.
After,
oh my goodness.
So I'm so happy that you loved me because I was sort of shy after that. And I thought, what if I follow him and he doesn't follow me back?
Oh my gosh.
And it was such a quick follow. And then you sent in such great videos for the Culture Awards. We are sitting with the Allison Williams Cool Girl Award winner.
Okay, so we have some background. So we were getting videos from Angie, including one from Greece.
From the Acropolis.
Can you talk about filming at the Acropolis and what happened there? When you went to go send in your video for the Culture Awards.
You guys, I'm not joking. I almost got arrested making that video for you guys. It is a true. Yes. I hiked up there in civilian clothing with sneakers. I got up there. Sean, I went up to that spot. Sean, they were closing. The sun was setting. I tried to time it perfectly. And I was pulling the dress on and it was sticking because I was sweating so bad. And like my boobs were falling out. I mean, I looked high body count. The boobs were coming out. I was trying to get the dress on and people were staring. Then I started to film the video. And they have these officers standing around. And this guy came up. He says, are you filming a commercial? It is illegal. You cannot film a commercial. Give me your phone. And he was going to take my phone. He was going to arrest me. Wow. I said, no, it's just a little video for my friend. I swear. But you're not allowed to film up there. And I didn't know that. And I literally almost got arrested for filming that. And I wanted to get it to you too in a timely manner, but I literally landed and went up there that night. And
you risked it all.
Yes. Yeah, I risked it all for Las Culturistas because you guys, you gave me the Cool Girl Award. And I was in there with Ariana Grande. And I'm like, this has to be good. I'm bringing a gown. I'm sending a video from the Acropolis. I did it all. I would have gone to jail. I would have gone to jail that night. And thank God I didn't. Or unfortunately, I didn't because that would have been a great story.
My goodness.
Cameras up in Greece.
Thank God I'm like the biggest bullshitter and I'm a great negotiator. I talked him out of taking my phone, arresting
you told him, I'm
me.
A pillar of the community,
I'm
please.
A pillar, yes. And then thank goodness he didn't watch Housewives. People were watching and seeing and then they were fans. So then they started swarming me. So I went down, I hiked down in the dress. I ran for my life. I kept the phone and sent you guys a video and I didn't make it in time, but it was a great story.
That is the thing too, is it didn't make it in time.
Yes,
now we're going to post it.
We will be posting it this week.
So now we will post the video finally. It is in vertical, so it's perfect for the talk. And we're going to get it out there. And
you guys, because think about it. Like, I could have gone to jail in a foreign country. But it was so I'm so happy you're going to post it. That will make it all just like the bat mitzvah, the high body hair count, like the video that they made last night. I watched Robin's Live. It's these moments that make it worth getting arrested, getting kicked out. I'm down for getting blown up if it brings some joy.
No, we hope you never blow up. Stay unblown up.
Arrested.
But what we're going to do right now is we're going to blow up culture. This is our 60-second segment. It's called I Don't Think So, Honey. So this is basically a 1-minute rant, Angie, where we take something apart that's bothering us in the culture or anything at large. Mine is not really pop culture specific, but it's something I've noticed in my travels on tour. And I got a shred on this one, Bo.
Ooh.
Okay, this is Matt Rodgers. I Don't Think So, Honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Thermostats in hotels. Why are they so complicated?
No.
All sorts of people go into a hotel. We need to dumb this down. How come I'm arguing and fighting with my thermostats in some of this hotel? I just want it to be warmer or I just want it to be colder. How come I'm pressing it up and it's arguing with me? I have not once been in a comfortable hotel this entire time. And I feel like I'm trying to pay for nice hotels to make myself have like a nice experience on the road. And I think, honestly, the nicer the hotel, the more complicated the appliances. And I'm
right,
like,
absolutely.
It is counterintuitive. I am fighting with toilets. I am fighting with thermostats. Can I also say a self-flushing toilet? Thanks, but no thanks. Some of these showers, I'm just trying to get hot water. It's crazy. It's like, and I'm colorblind.
Seconds.
Sometimes I can't tell the difference between a little red dash and a little blue dash. I'm serious. I need a big H and a big C. Please, hotels, make this easier for me. I just want to live my life in a comfortable way. I can't. Seriously, I a lot of times I don't even know how to turn televisions off, put lights on. I don't think so, honey. These hotels and the appliance culture.
And that's 1 minute. Oh, man.
Wow,
I'm so sorry.
That was so good. I agree with all of it.
Have you ever gone into a hotel and the TV's already on and it's like doing like the hotel messaging and it's like, playing its resort commercial or whatever it is and you just can't figure out how to turn it off? Sometimes they hide the remotes on you. I swear. It's like you think you're going to hook yourself up with a nice hotel and it gets harder to exist in them.
No, I turn it off immediately. I don't want to hear it.
It's the case for a Days Inn. It's the case for a Days Inn. Days Inn give it to you straight. Low body count, but easy to stay in.
Days Inn would be a low body count. Except some of the workers, maybe some of the girls that rent the rooms there might be high body count, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Here we go. Well, honestly, I'm happy that they're in places where they know how to turn the heat on because I'm telling you, it's been a struggle bus.
Sorry, we're not fighting with so much hardware. No, we're not.
Yes. Do people, well, not after that. I'm just kidding. Do people drop the F-bomb in these?
No, absolutely. Oh,
yeah. It's a podcast, so we've said way filthier than anything you could ever say, Ange.
Oh, my gosh. Is Bowen doing one or is it like?
I'm doing one.
Bowen is up right now.
Okay, good. Good. This is warming me up.
It's warming you up. Bowen, are you ready? Do you have something locked and loaded?
I have something locked and loaded.
All right. Well, this is Bowen Yang's final I Don't Think So Honey of 2024. And his time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. I need to see the women on the Real House of Salt Lake City ski more, actively ski more, not going on the lift, not sitting down at a picnic table having an argument. I want to see them hit the slopes, go around the moguls. I want to see them actively do what they do best. I think there is nothing more aspirational than to see a woman looking fabulous, shredding powder down the slopes of Utah. As a 100%. Colorado myself, I grew up kind of aspiring towards a nice ski outfit. I finally sprung for one this year because I'm going to Breckenridge for Christmas, and I finally just like splurged on some Arc'teryx ski stuff and some nice goggles and some even helmet headphones if I want to listen to tunes. But I need to see the women ski more. I just want to see their styles. I want to see how they have hip flexor flexibility because I'm going to Sundance. I'm so excited in January and February. I'm so thrilled to be at Sundance, and I will absolutely be hitting the slopes and I will be thinking of these women every single moment. I need to see more women on Salt Lake skiing.
And that's 1 minute.
Yes.
I agree with you, Bowen. We got that one fabulous episode where I was really, Heather especially, like shredding on the slopes.
She's good.
Do you identify as a great skier?
Not when you have immigrant parents and 7 kids. We never got to ski. My dad thought it was dangerous. He thought it was too expensive. We never did it. No. So now we go with my daughter, but it's hard to learn at 50 years old. Like I'm scared and I just stay on the small hills and I don't want to break any bones.
I'm scared too. I know I'll get hurt.
Yes. Bowen, if you come, look, I don't know if I was funny enough to get my contract renewed, but if I come back and we're filming, you might have to have a cameo because those are filming seasons for us.
When during Sundance? Are you allowed to say?
Well, normally we start filming the end of January, beginning of February, but I don't know if I was funny enough to get renewed. And I don't know.
You are renewed.
I don't know if last night's reenactment of high body count hair is like maybe saying that I did something. So if I get renewed, maybe Bowen could be in Salt Lake while filming.
You're a lock.
You're a lock. I'm literally texting Andy like after every episode being like, this Salt Lake City is everything. And Angie, I said, have you ever been as blown away by a rise of a housewife? And he is ecstatic.
What did he say?
Great.
Well, I can't say too much, but just I think you're safe. I really do.
I think he's very happy with all of you.
I think that we have a great cast and he knows it. And so thank you. And I like the word rise. I did have to rise up. Man, they took me out.
They put you through it.
Hey, Matt, being Greek, one story you do need to know is that like from the movie 300, where, there was 300 Greeks and 150,000 Persians.
Yep.
And guess what? Yeah.
The
Greeks were not defeated. Yes, they did. It's an important story to watch. So at the bottom, you'll notice me taking out multiple of these women at once.
Yes, you are the 301 person.
And then blowing up the party and leaving. I'm getting good at it.
100%. They might as well call you Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
I finally, exactly. So I've got my
Sparta. That is so. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, honestly, So Bowen is going to be in Sundance. He has a movie coming out at Sundance, The Wedding Banquet. So, are you a Sundance? Are you a Sundance person? Do you?
We used to do. We used to have a big tequila thing in our salon. We have a salon in Park City, Utah. So you're gonna have to get your high body count hair done when you come there. Yeah, Lunatic
I want to come too.
Park City, yes. You guys all take care of your high body count hair. And we used to host like an event up there with hair and tequila with Patron tequila because our partner,
not Vita.
No, especially not after what she's been doing to me this season. But no, I'm kidding. Our partner, John Paul DeJoria, he's our partner in Palma to the School. He owned Patron Tequila. So we had a tequila bar in our salon with John Paul DeJoria, and he's our partner in our cosmetology school. So we used to host events up there every year. But I will meet you up there. Yes.
I would love to see you, Angie. Truly.
Yeah, you're going to see me.
Love to meet up.
You're going to be in a cameo in my scene if I get
which you are. Absolutely. I'm there.
Yeah, so we'll do a scene, yes. Skiing. Is this the moment?
This is the moment. We jinxed each other. So Angie K.
Are you going to show me my times? Because I talk a lot.
Bowen, do you have the phone?
I've got it. This is Angie Katsanevas says, I don't think so, honey. Her time starts now.
I don't think so, honey.
Let's go!
I don't think so, honey. Look, you know what I don't like? I don't like high body count hair. You know what? Because it looks cheap. And when you've got high body count hair, your clothes look cheap. When you've got high body count hair, your shoes look plastic. When you've got high body count hair, your face looks plastic. Everything about you suddenly becomes cheap. People want to come to my high-end, luxurious salon, but they don't want to pay my high-end prices. Look, if you want to look expensive, girl, you got to spend some money. Like, when you got high body count hair and we can see the tracks, that's bad. And listen, if you want to, if you're too cheap to come to the salon and pay to get your hair done, then if you're going to be bitching and from doing it in the kitchen, then don't come to Lunatic Fringe. And listen, high body count hair can be sophisticated. It can be sexy. It can have volume. But if you don't do it right, high body count looks cheap. And guess what? If you want expensive hair or if you want high body count hair and you don't like your look when you leave, we've got a get laid guarantee policy at my salon. Come back and I'll fuck you myself.
That's 1 minute. Get laid guarantee. I'll fuck you myself.
I'm going to get my body count up because I love body count.
Honestly, perfection.
Oh my
I have
perfection. You guys, I was like, I forgot. That was wild.
Now you know what we go through every single episode. We've done hundreds and hundreds of these.
Do I take another stab? Was it good?
No, it was
perfect. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
We loved it. Honestly, this has been such a wonderful time getting to know you better one-on-one.
This is so fun.
And we are just like so taken with you on the show. And I'm not lying. I mean, I think every Bravo-holic out there, certainly us, knows that Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is where it's at. And you've been a huge reason why. So thanks for all that you share. And thank you for your time here today. This has been really fun.
I had a blast. I want you to know how honored I am. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Honor's ours. We couldn't have asked for a better guest to close out the year. This has been such a fun one, but we've loved you consistently throughout because, I mean, gosh, January 2nd was the finale, was Reality Von Teese of this year. And to have a full calendar year of Salt Lake, it's been it's the thing that's gotten me through, truly.
It's crazy to think that was this year.
Yes. Yeah. And do you guys know that we are one of the top 10 shows? Vanity Fair wrote us up as one of the top 10 shows in 2024 this season, not last season. So our show is even better. Our finale is insane. Our reunion is going to be amazing. Thanks. I'm like the fact that you guys watch Salt Lake and love it. That just puts us on the map because you two are like, Javi, your support has like literally made me feel like I made it. I'm not, and you know what Heather said? She goes, "Oh my gosh, Angie, if Matt and Bowen love you, like you've struck." She told me that's like the biggest compliment
we love
ever receive.
We love everyone.
I know you do. When you're new, you're waiting for your flowers, and when you guys give them, it's like, okay, I can die now.
Well. Let's all keep on living for more seasons of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
It's coming.
It airs on Wednesday evenings. So actually tonight, you guys, when this episode comes out, if you're listening today, there's a new episode tonight. And how many more episodes to the finale? Are we almost there? We must be.
We have 2 more. And then the finale will, we have one more. There's 3 episodes in Mexico. I believe we just did our first, so we have 2 more in Mexico, and then hopefully a 3-part reunion.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I would think so. They're going to want to milk this for all it's worth. Well, this has been so much fun.
So good.
And we end every episode with a song. Bo, what's our song that we want to end 2024 on?
What's the song?
Oh, let's see.
I feel like I'm having a Greek coffee with you guys. This has been so fun.
What's a Greek song we should sing? What's the most famous Greek song? You take us out.
A Greek song? Oh my gosh. But you guys couldn't sing along, so we've got to think of...
Okay.
Who's a Greek American? Who's a Greek
Greece?
singer?
A song from Greece.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's the word, it's the word, it's the word. Greece is the time, it's the place, it's the motion, and Greece is the way we are feeling.
Happy 2024.
Except we're spelling Greece like the country. Greece is the word.
Exactly. Greece
is the word. The country.
Love you guys.
Oh my God, this
love you.
Las Culturistas is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players and iHeartRadio podcasts.
Created and hosted by Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. Executive produced by Anna Hosnier and Hans Sani.
Produced by Becca Ramos. Edited and mixed by Doug Babe and Monique Laborde.
And our music is by Henry Kaburski. Hey everybody, it's me, Matt Rogers, letting you know tickets are on sale now to see me on tour. The Prince of Christmas tour, that is. I'm doing my whole album, Have You Heard of Christmas, plus a lot more with the whole band all throughout December. Go to www.mattrogersofficial.com to see me in a city near you.